Okay, looks like we are live, and there's a good group of you guys in here. Just gonna get situated in here. Oh, hey, Rick, buddy, thanks, pal. Appreciate the contribution. That's awesome of you. Come back once we start taking questions. Make sure you throw a question out there. Let me give you something for that donation, folks. Super chat's open. If you want to donate to the channel and help us out with stuff, feel free. That's a little $ thing down at the bottom of the chat. A lot to talk about tonight. Don't have a lot of preamble for you. Talked a lot about it on the post-game show yesterday. Hope you guys dug that. Before I get going, I want to say thanks to Jerry Cole. I know you're in the chat. I already see you, buddy. Thanks for shouting out the word today. I saw that, and I got you retweeted as well. And I appreciate you guys spreading the word when you do that on social media. You know, I'm not on Reddit. I'm not terribly active on Facebook because I just don't have time to keep track of everything. So when you guys shout that stuff out, it really helps, and I appreciate it very much. So thanks, Jerry, and everybody else who does it. I just happened to see Jerry's today. So, Wolverine, I'm glad. Thanks for your donation. I'll get to you in just a minute. I'm going to hold that. Aaron, don't worry about it. Somebody hit thumbs down before I even started. So I'm guessing a Raiders fan. That is what it is. Tonight's beer is a pale ale of my own concoction. It's a homebrew Monday today. So, side note, there's a new beer-related podcast out on the other channel, and I will be covering GABF this year. So if anybody's interested in that kind of thing, check out the other channel. That's where that will be. Transaction today. Mo Claiborne was put on the exempt list, which means he's on his way back. The suspension is basically lifted. He'll be able to practice on Wednesday. I don't know if they're going to do it or not. That's going to be the real question. They certainly could. Talking to a bunch of people that cover the team here in the last day or two, Matt Derrick's not convinced that they roll him out right away and try to get him into the starting lineup. There's a couple others that aren't so sure, and it's really just kind of a question mark. It depends on what he's been doing in the time off. Is he in shape? Has he been able to study the playbook? I know he got a playbook when he came to camp. Has he been in it? How much has it changed? Because they have changed what they're doing. We talk in depth about what Matt sees and what he's thinking on the Locked On Chiefs podcast today. That'll be up here rather shortly if it's not already. So you can check that out on Google Podcasts, iPodcasts, from the whole 9 yards. Let's see. I just saw something as it flashed by. Eric Mead, welcome. New viewers, I know there's a lot of you, a lot of new folks on the regular videos as well. The image quality isn't going to be great because I live up in the mountains and I just don't have fast internet. So we'll have a good conversation whether I look like trash or not. So we'll just keep going. And eventually I will upgrade my internet when some company decides to run something decent up here. So good thing is none of the injuries we thought we saw yesterday are going to end up being long-term from everything that I've heard. So it's just one of those deals where it was a rough game. And I don't think it's going to cause any serious long-term harm. I'm still a little concerned about a couple of guys that aren't on the injury report, that didn't show up on the report or really come out of the game for any reason. And it's just because it just feels like they're banged up. And that's Sammy, Watkins, and Mitch, Schwartz. Neither of them looked in the fourth quarter to me like they were moving their normal way. And that's just years of observation. I don't have anything scientific to back it up, and I'm not trying to say they should be on the injury report. I'm just saying they're not 100%. Sammy went down on one of those routes. I think it was one he was targeted on, and he slipped pretty bad. And sometimes that can cause just some soft tissue strain, that kind of thing. Mitch Morris had a back in camp, and actually the week that I was there, I was concerned about it and seemed to heal up on him. Now it seems like it might be back. I don't know. It just doesn't look like he's moving 100% to me. So something to keep an eye on. Other standouts today, looking at usage and snap counts, those came out earlier. We'll have the all 22 hopefully comes out tomorrow. And I'll try to make sure that I get that on Wednesday for you guys and go through a couple of plays like usual. Let me know in the comments whether you liked last week's film room. I tried to do shorter breakdowns of more plays, or do you like the longer in-depth of just like 2 plays? Let me know what you prefer. I see a lot of questions. So that said, 5 minutes in, we'll just start. I know you guys want to watch Monday Night Football too. So do I, actually. So we'll just get into it here. So again, welcome Eric Mead and all you newbies. Appreciate you guys checking us out. Spread the word and let everybody else know if you would. Dr. Sanitary asked the first question. And if you are new and you haven't done this before, on the live feeds, if you're watching this afterwards, after Monday night, just watch and leave regular comments. But if you're in the chat, put a couple of question marks at the beginning of your question. It helps me pick them out of the chat. So that said, Dr. Sanitary, would you agree that Mahomes looked uncomfortable in the pocket, almost like he expected to be sacked? I don't know about the expectation to be sacked, but he definitely did look a little bit more flustered. And it felt to me like it was the pinching effect. Both the tackles were allowing depth. And I think that kind of gives you that idea that the pocket's consuming you when it's really not. And it just felt like he couldn't set his feet the way he wanted. He couldn't take steps. It looks to me like his ankle's good from the way that he was running in particular. I feel like he's healthy there. So for me, it just felt like he couldn't really step into it. He just felt a little bit crowded, a little congested. I don't know about the expectation. Honestly, to me, he seems like a guy who expects to just knock it out of the park every time. So I don't think that was particularly it, but you never know. Let's see. Who's next? Oh, Wolverine, I forgot. You made a donation. You get your question asked first. At what point do we say that we lost the Clark trade? 2 years down the line. That's about it. Yeah, it's not I'm not happy what he's doing now, but he's getting double teamed. He's getting the Justin Houston treatment where everybody's constantly doubling him. And just like Justin Houston, he needs somebody else to take some of the stress off. Justin had D, he has Chris. And Chris is doing a very good job. And I think the more you see Chris Clark, the more you hear Chris Clark on the Locked On Chiefs podcast, the more that you'll agree that when you see Chris Jones, the more explosive he is, the more production he gets, and the more attention he'll deserve, the more that helps Frank, especially when they're lined up next to each other. Now, the one thing that I like is that Spags has been moving Chris Jones around from the opposite tackle and even out on the edge a little bit. So that helps Frank, but they're dedicating multiple blockers to him, and that's just tough. If they can get somebody else on the other edge, that takes the backs and the tight ends out of it. And that's what I think is really going to make the difference. Because right now, the whole line can just shift. If Chris Jones and Frank Clark are lined up next to each other, right? Everybody can come down. But if you have to protect both edge guys in particular, that means chipping with backs and tight ends, and that helps. So don't ride him too hard, Wolverine. I understand where you're coming from. I want more out of him too, but it's going to get there. And I think the better the interior guys do, the better Alex Okafor does as his pass rush comes on, and I felt like he played better this last week, the more it's going to help Frank Clark. So I'm not concerned. And again, this is the first year of a brand new defense. I think it's kind of complex. So I think it's going to take some time. So let's see. Carlos, do you think Veach is sending Jalen the big head text? I don't think so. I don't think the Chiefs were that team that sent the offer for 2 number ones, to tell you the truth. I think Jalen, the way that he's behaving, holding himself out for X number of reasons. Now, having a baby's having a baby, and I don't think anybody's going to hold that against you. But hey, I'm sick one day and I have back spasms the next, I think that just shows a level of unprofessionalism that I don't think that, while the Chiefs are interested, I don't think they're willing to overpay for it. So I don't think that's it. But as this goes down to the wire, like I said last night, the price drops. Closer they get to the trade deadline, the less that team can demand because they're just running out of time. So we'll see what happens. Next question, Rick Buddy. Okay, good. I'm glad. Thank you for your donation earlier. And here's your question. Why didn't we see any single or double go routes? Just because they were getting enough pass rush that you didn't want to leave so much time to have to develop those. You saw early that Yelder in particular was getting those crossers. I think Mecole Hardman hit on a crosser too. Those are quick developing plays. You don't have time for double moves on those kind of things. So I think that's really what the defense was dictating and trying to jump on everybody as much as they can. I'll have to look at the 22 because I think later they backed off, and I think that would have allowed a little bit, but I think really that's the main reason. Who's next? Got that one. Oh, okay. Aaron Morrow. Thanks for joining again, Aaron. Aaron is a stalwart around here, folks. Give him a hand. Will Claiborne start? He will eventually. I don't think it's going to be this week. I do kind of side with Matt Derrick that they're going to ease him in a little bit. I mean, unless he's just in exemplary shape. But here's the thing. Even if he plays 25% of the snaps, he's solid. He's a veteran. He doesn't get duped as much as what you see with some of the things with Ward in zone. Ward had a bad day even in man last week. So giving him a little bit of relief, I think, is something that will help. He looks like he's in better shape to me, although he did admit last year that he wasn't. He did get winded a lot in those last in the playoff game in particular. So, I mean, helping Travarius Ward is important. I felt like he was on an upward trend. He took a step back last week, but I feel like Travarius Ward is still improving and getting better, moving ahead. And having Mo Claiborne around is only going to help that. I think it will take some of the pressure off of him, and I think that will allow him to play better and hopefully with more confidence as well. I think that's really important for him. Nefi Armandaris. I hope I said that right, or even close. What do you think Mahomes learned? I think Mahomes learned that he has to be the driving force, and he can be. From what I saw, the preview of the franchise, you're going to hear some pretty impressive stuff in terms of taking a group of men, all older than him, and driving them towards a goal, motivating them. And that is something that leaders have to do, whether you're Joe Montana or Herschel Walker. Leaders have to do that. And I think that's still an evolution. Right now, he's leading by example, or say last season, he's leading by example. Now he's able to grow into a bigger role of a team leader, of a vocal leader that can use motivation on the sidelines in between drives to motivate his crew, especially the offense. Now, the great thing is that the defense respects him very much as well, and it seems that they're motivated by his performance as well. So it all kind of ties together as far as I'm concerned. But that's kind of where it's at. Next question. Where'd it go? I just had it a second ago. David Reed. I can foresee Darrel Williams' role increasing. What do you think? I think it could be. Again, as much to keep the toll off of LeSean, as much as it is, and Andy Reid even mentioned this in the post-game presser, that they're confident in Darrel in pass protection, and Shady's still getting used to some of that. The calls are different. I mean, it's all the same concepts, and Shady's very good at it for his size, but it's still about being in the right place at the right timing, knowing what the call is. So I foresee a 50-50, 60-40 split somewhere between there as we go forward. The question is going to be if Damien Williams miraculously gets healed and decides to get back out there, what happens then? Because right now, I don't know that I would take LeSean or Darrel off the field for Damien. That's the question. We'll see what happens. Demetrius Scott, any updates on Ramsey? Are we still going after him? No idea. I know they made an offer, and it was not accepted. Jacksonville's like in this for a gold rush, I think, and I think they're going to end up being disappointed. So we'll see what happens. I'm just done speculating because every time I think I know what's going to happen, I'm totally wrong. So we'll see. Tyler Thatcher, Justin Houston revenge game Sunday night. Yeah, Justin's going to be ready. He was not happy with the way he was treated. He was not happy the last couple of years in Kansas City, to tell you the truth. And you could tell by the way he put out early in downs, and I had some problems with some of the things they did, and you guys heard me talk about it. So I think he's out to prove a point, and he is playing pretty well. He's got more pressures than Frank Clark. He's got more pressures than Chris Jones. He's doing his thing. He's not getting home. I think it was 2 sacks. I haven't looked at the stats from yesterday, but Justin Houston is still a formidable pass rusher, and I think he's going to look to make quite an impact. And Jeff Schwartz will tell you that he is tough. It's going to be another one where if Jeff Schwartz sits out at all this week to try and rest his back, I'm all for it, because he's going to need every ounce that he has against Justin Houston, because Justin does have a point. Andy Anderson, was Tyrann's sack designed for him, or was he freelancing? I believe it was designed. I also believe that Spags gives him the freedom to make that decision, to go or to not go. But it's not like that he just miraculously decided to walk up to the line of scrimmage and blitz. Because if that were the case, then whatever the call was, that he was leaving a hole there. And I don't think he's that irresponsible. And I don't think Spags would put up with him being that irresponsible. So I feel like it was either a design play, or it was one of those things where we're going to put you in a robber. If you see something you want to go up, go up. And he maybe designed the defense on that call to allow Tyrann to make a little bit of a freelance move there. But I don't think it was all for him just going out on his own. Good question, Andy. Danilo, how are you, buddy? It's been a while. How possible do you think is the Chiefs mathematically win the AFC West before their Week 11 game versus the Chargers, or immediately after? I still feel like it's going to come down to beating the Chargers that week, so I'm going to say mathematically it's not going to happen before then. So that's just my gut feeling. I don't know. I'd have to see some more. Ponoquai, how are you, pal? Aloha. What else do you think of the Ravens if they decline 2 first-rounders from us? Can Jalen decline a trade to a subpar team? No, he cannot. What he can do is refuse to sign with them. And a lot of trades of a player of this caliber, especially when you're talking about really high compensation like this, it's going to be built into the trade that, hey, he's got to agree to a new contract or an extension, or we're not going to do it. And so that's the only way that he can force himself to not be traded to a specific team, if he just comes out and blatantly tells them, I won't re-sign with you. That's the only thing that he has. That team would still have the 5th-year option next season and a franchise tag possibility. So some team may see that's okay. We'll make him stay, and we'll see if we grow on him or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's always a possibility. I don't think he would want to stay in this. I don't think he does either. He clearly wants out. He clearly doesn't want to play for this organization. And I think it's a lot to do with Tom Coughlin and a lot to do with the organization itself. I think he's in on his players. I think he's a player's guy. I do feel, and you guys have heard me talk about him, I don't feel he's a great locker room influence on younger guys, because I think he's more about him than he is the team. He says he just wants to win. He says he's there for his players, his teammates, and I believe him on that. But that's not what a leader does, is make these excuses and then sit out yesterday's game. That's not what a leader does. And if you're going to be one of the best at your position, what he thinks is the best corner in the league, that's not what you do. So I think that throws a little bit of shade on his situation for the rest of the league. I could be wrong. And, there's always going to be some GM that is less worried about that than I am. There's a reason I'm not a GM. I like to sleep. But there's a number of GMs I'd like to help out, because I think I could maybe give them a couple of ideas. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know Jalen enough to say. But folks that I do know that knew him in Nashville or knew him in when he was at Florida State, none of it screams to me like a team first guy. So that's just where I'm coming from. Pono, I appreciate it. Next question. Dr. Sanitary. I would argue LB is a bigger need than cornerback right now. Anyone you'd like to see them get that could be available? No, there's no good linebackers anybody's going to trade. And quite frankly, the Chiefs are happy with it. They're not looking to change. They are willing to give up the run because they feel their linebackers are good enough in pass coverage to defeat the X factor in the move tight ends and the running backs out of the backfield. And I can't necessarily argue with them, because the rest of the league wants to throw it all day long. There are some throwback teams like these Lions, like the Ravens, like the Patriots. That's the problem that I see, and that's another reason why I'm so hung up. Yes, I'm old school, but I'm also hung up on it because the run game proves to defeat this Chiefs team over and over and over in the playoffs, and that's what it comes down to. So I just don't think that the linebackers are deficient enough, and quite frankly, I'm still baffled why Reggie Ragland isn't playing against the teams like the Ravens and the Lions that want to run the ball. And I'm not sure why. I think it's because you get yourself in a situation where you're playing in a base, and you see how much they play base as nickel. Really, nickel defense is base. it's a heavy package going to a standard 4-3 or a standard 3-4 right now in the NFL. That's just the way that it is. So you're worried about getting caught, basically, where you can't make substitutions fast enough, and Reggie's got to play in coverage. Although, I will say, Reggie lined up on a slot receiver yesterday and made a play almost at the out of bounds and covered it just fine. So I'm just saying, the guy's got some skills, and I'm going to keep stumping. Reggie will be my guy until he's not a Chief anymore, and that's just going to be the way that it is. Scott Meza, good evening to you. How do you think Ward has played? Like I said, I thought Ward was on an upward trajectory. I still feel he's best in man. I think he's still confused sometimes in zone, and I can't blame him. It's a tough transition to make. But yesterday he took a step back. I think the physicality of the Detroit receivers was getting the better of him. I think he'll be okay. I think some more nurturing from more veterans I think is going to help him. And Mo Claiborne's got more experience than Breeland and Fuller combined. So I think that's a big positive, to tell you the truth. Metal Rocker, what do you think of the 100-yard touchdown by Breeland? I think it was a heads-up play. You can say what you want about he should have been down or whatever. There was a hand underneath a knee at one point. I can't remember if that was even the same play. But long story short, Bashaud Breeland took a shot, and it paid off. Smart guy, heads up. I think he's played the best of all the Chiefs corners so far. He has been beaten some, but he's been beaten by guys that are faster than him. It's a physical thing. I think instinctually he's playing the best of anybody in the secondary, to tell you the truth, including Tyrann Mathieu. I think Bashaud Breeland is really underrated for what the Chiefs paid for him. So I'm really happy with that one. Hey, Pyruvate, thanks. That kind of sucks, but okay. Michael Rodriguez, why would you trade Robinson or Watkins in trade to help get Peterson from Arizona? I wouldn't trade Sammy Watkins. If Sammy's healthy, Sammy can be a 1A. He won't have to be, but he can be. I don't think Demarcus Robinson stays on this roster next season, but he's paid his dues and he's put his work in. He's a willing blocker. He does everything asked of him. So while I would part ways with him if that's what it took to get Peterson, I wouldn't be happy about it right now. The only reason, again, is because you're going to lose him in the offseason either way. They're not going to pay him what he's going to be offered. It's going to be a Chris Conley situation. Somebody's going to pay him a lot more than the Chiefs want to pay him. Or in this situation, can pay him. Okay. Who's next? Ponaquagat. Bucker needs CBD oil. Yeah, okay. He misses those. Cost us in the playoffs. True. I don't know what that was. That was kind of an aberration. I was a little disappointed with that myself. We'll see if he can right the ship and get back on track. Stevie, good point. Coach Kyle, how clutch was Pringle for holding on to the ball after he took that shot? Yeah, and honestly, it was the second shot that I was really impressed with. He looked like a ping pong ball out there. And I think that's the kind of play, especially when you're set up and you're trying to make plays for your team in a situation that is pretty tough, double covered there. Holding on to the ball, but spinning out of it and getting more yards. That's the thing that endears you to not only your teammates, but your coaches. So that's the kind of thing that earns you more snaps on offense. I can't say that's exactly what's going to happen, but I would not be shocked if you see Pringle in the game more on offense next week, because that's the kind of thing that they love to see. That's the X factor. Greg Lewis had a smile on his face. I guarantee it. I don't think there was a camera on him at the time, but I'm telling you, that's the way it was. And I think it's deserved. So I'm with you. Let's see. Michael Uden. Any chance that the Broncos season in the toilet, they might convince them to trade us Chris Harris? No. In fact, Harris kind of hinted yesterday that he's not going to be back, that he's not going to return. I don't think they're going to have to trade him. I think they might just release him. I don't think anybody's happy. And I know he signed an extension, didn't he? I just can't remember how long it is. I personally, as a former Jayhawk, would love to have Chris Harris on the Chiefs roster. I don't care how old he is. Is he as fast as he was 3 seasons ago? No. I don't think it's dramatic. I would love to have Chris Harris on this roster. You'll find no one more excited about that than me. Aqib Talib, no thanks. But Chris Harris, any day. Nathan Roth. How has Justin Houston been playing so far this year? Like I said, he's doing well in pressures. I think he had 2 sacks and 11 pressures last time I looked, and that was before this last week, which is well ahead of anybody on the Chiefs roster. So it's also ahead of D Ford. Like I said, if the relationship could have been recovered, I would have rather seen Justin Houston stay in Kansas City. It was a matter of paying him, and that was the problem. It just wasn't going to happen, and he wasn't happy. So he wasn't going to take a discount of any kind. And that's really what you needed to get done. So, I'm happy for him. I hope that they do well. The whole luck thing is just good Lord. Between Justin being over there, I like that organization. There's a heavy Chiefs influence in that organization at the Colts, and I really enjoy that. So, I don't know. I hope that they do well, just not too well. Aaron Ragland did play a bit, but not so much yet. Derrick Seal. So this defense is obviously improved, but my question is, how much credit do they deserve? Teams have to game plan to keep up with our offense, and they take a lot more risks. The Ravens did. I don't know that anybody else did. I felt like the Lions were pretty methodical. I didn't feel like they took a lot of chances. The Raiders are the Raiders. They took a couple, but it is what it is. Johnny's Johnny. Old Chucky's going to do what Chucky's going to do, so I'm not going to put that up to him either. We'll see what happens coming here in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying not to look too far ahead, but the game against Green Bay and the game against New England, those are the games of the season. And if you guys remember the schedule rundown we did over the summer on Locked On Chiefs, I have them at 14-2. And the only losses I had were to Green Bay and New England. And that's right now. Detroit put up a heck of a fight. Detroit deserves credit. And I feel like Detroit's going to be right there with Green Bay at the end, fighting for the NFC North. And they might even get it done. I don't know. If they can figure out a couple of things, I think they're going to be okay. Honestly, if Darius Slade played yesterday, it would have been a lot different game. I think they would have taken more chances. They would have played up closer to the line of scrimmage. And honestly, I think the Chiefs would have had some more big plays. But I don't know if it would have been good enough for a win. So there's a lot there to like in Detroit. Good question, Derek. Carlos Ruiz, extra ball protection drills this week. I don't feel it was the Chiefs were like being lazy. I don't feel like they were taking chances and not protecting the ball. Kelsie doubled up. Darrel Williams, you saw him double up. 2 hands on the ball a couple of times. I think the big thing is that Matt Patricia comes from Bill Belichick. They're both old school guys. And what's the first thing you did in high school football? Punch the ball out. Make them hold on to it, because doing this slows you down. I feel like it was more the Lions playing well at punching the ball out than the Chiefs not playing well and protecting the ball. That's just me. Let's see. Scott Mesa, how long do you think we will see Tyreek on the field? How long do we think, or how long until? I don't think he'll play this week. Might get week 6 or 7, and I think it's going to be 40-50% of the snaps. I think they're going to ease him in. I know he's going to want to go. I just don't know if that's going to happen. Next question. Firefighter Farmer here. I know there's a bunch, but do you have a favorite Waylon song? There is a bunch. Man, that's a tough one. I am partial to Lonesome Ornery and Mean. I am partial to Clyde. But yeah, my favorite is probably got to be Good Hearted Woman. Yeah, that's it for me. Let's see. Jeff Porter, which AFC West team are you most worried about? Oh, I scrolled too far. Hold on, I lost your question, Jeff. 1 minute. Oh, man, I'm way behind. I just realized that. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, I'm way behind. Okay, I got to start talking faster. Sorry, trying to find it. There we go. Jeff Porter, what AFC West team are you most worried about challenges for the division? I still think it's the Chargers. I just don't think the Raiders have enough, and the Broncos are a dumpster fire at this point. Nathan Altick, is it time to start Darrel the Barrel? Also, is it time to give up on Hitchens? No, Hitchens is fine in coverage. He's just either got to get tougher against the run, or you got to play Ragland more on running downs. That's what it is to me. And I'm fine if Reggie only plays on running downs. I realize he's okay in coverage. He's not great. I realize Hitchens is better. Wilson is better. Lee is better. Okay. Stop the run. There are times you have to stop the run, play Reggie. That's all I'm saying. And start Darrel. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, he's getting more carries than LeSean. That's just the way it's working out. I honestly don't think it matters. They're clearly comfortable going to him in short yardage. They're comfortable with going to him late in the game. I think that's all that matters. If LeSean gets the first carry of the game, the first target of the game, who cares? I don't think he does, and I don't think they do. I think the thing that Reed has been really good about this particular last 2 seasons, and part of that is with the departure of some of the veterans, is making young players care about team, play as a team, play as a family, and I think that they've all bought into it. I don't see guys pouting. So I don't think it matters much. Good question, though. 7-11, how about the impact of Bradley Chubb tearing his ACL? Bradley Chubb wasn't doing a whole lot before, so I was not high on him coming out. I think clearly he's not doing enough to take attention away from Von Miller. Von Miller got his first sack of the season in game 4. That tells you something right there. So I don't know that it really makes a huge difference. I wasn't worried about him against Fisher anyway. So Ray Booth, not saying Clark is a bust, but Chris Jones should have gotten paid. See anything turning sour in that situation? No. But if you bring in Jalen Ramsey and you pay Jalen Ramsey, it's going to get sour real fast. So I don't see that part happening either. If they trade for Jalen Ramsey, they have to pay Chris Jones, or they have to be happy with letting him go. One of the two, because it ain't going to be pretty. Is the O-line digressing? Seeing Patrick was uncomfortable all game. Yeah, I mean, I thought is not the optimum game for Reader. I thought they let some internal pressure a little bit too much. But the guys that were really allowing depth were the edge guys. So, and that's Eric Fisher. That's having a backup at left tackle. What are you going to do? Nobody keeps 2 starting left tackles. You can't afford them. So, I don't know. It's just a function of what's going on health-wise. Aaron Morrow, what do you think about the eagle hits by Burfict and Patriots on Josh Allen? I didn't see the Josh Allen one. I've heard about it. Perfect. I'm done. I mean, I was done before. You heard all this stuff early in preseason about, he's not on Hard Knocks. He's turned a corner. He's not dirty anymore. He's always dirty. He's the dirtiest guy in the league. The second dirtiest guy plays on their offensive line, too. That ain't changing either. And honestly, I worry about the people that live in Oakland because sometime Richie Incognito is going to lose his mind again. It's when, not if. So I just hope it's not on the football field. And I hope that it's not where anyone else gets hurt. That guy scares me. Sorry. That stuff bothers me. I don't like what the Raiders did. I thought they had a chance with Mike Mayock to turn it around, to get aggressive players that fit the traditional persona of the Raiders without getting silly with it. AB, perfect. I mean, Incognito's the only one that hasn't done anything yet. Let's see how long that lasts. Aaron Santos, what do you see Spags bring the blitz more of the DBs? He loves that. And I think he's kind of right now picking and choosing. But I do feel like he's going to have to do that more just to kind of spark some things. But again, one more guy out of coverage. I mean, I think Derrick, Nnadi, Emmanuel Ogbah, I think they've done a great job dropping into coverage. I hate seeing defensive linemen in coverage. It bugs me, but they're doing it fine. They're making plays off of it, and Spags is certainly comfortable with it. So I have nothing that I can take away from Spags' decision-making. So we'll just have to see how it goes and go from there. Let's see. Jerry Cole, there we go. Should we pull Darren Lee out and put Colin Saunders in? I think that could help us the run a little bit. I don't. No offense. Colin Saunders is not ready to take on double teams. He's not ready to play inside. He was a guy that made his money in college off of being quick, about being explosive. He's not playing for a reason. He's just not there. His anchor isn't good enough to get double teamed. And quite frankly, in the preseason, I didn't see him make enough splash plays and penetration to earn time on there. Darren Lee is not playing well either. But cheap acquisition, better in coverage than against the run. I can't really argue with that. I don't feel like he's getting destroyed. I feel like he's solid against the pass, but not great. I still feel like Damien Wilson's playing better than him, even in pass coverage, but it is what it is. I don't think – I think that the thing is you pull Lee out, you put Ragland in. You let Hitch play out at the will, and that's how you stop the run better. The problem is I saw at least 2 plays where Damien Wilson abandoned his assignment to try to take over for somebody else, and he guessed at a gap that wasn't his. And I saw Hitchens get destroyed on too many blocks. Hitchens lost weight so that he can cover better, but he's losing his ability to take on blocks. And he was only iffy last season. So that's a problem. You still need a banger in there. And I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Reggie. I wish I had an answer for you guys. Chances we trade for a linebacker. McGuire Donegan, love the name. Slancha. 0. They're not going to trade for a linebacker. They don't see it as a priority. We may. They do not. They see the athleticism and coverage, and that's what they covet, and they're going to make do with the rest of the run game. Michael King, any rumors of a deadline corner trade? Yeah, I mean, they're looking. They're making inquiries. I just don't know if they can get it done for the price they want to pay. Alex Mitchell, Dirty Dan, asset liability or don't know. I like the way Spags is using him. Closer to line of scrimmage, blitzing with him a little bit. I'm okay with what they're doing with Dan Sorensen. I don't like it when he goes back to the back of the defense. We saw him do that a couple of times against the Lions. I didn't like that. But it was very limited, so I'm not too worried about it. Carlos A., do you think Veach is sending Jalen? Oh, did I skip back? Oh, you must have said it again. No, I still don't. Deldrick Smith, do you wish that they still had Breeland Speaks after seeing Frank Clark getting pancaked in the fourth quarter? No, Speaks wasn't going to do any better than Frank. I'll tell you that. That's just grass is greener kind of situation. I don't think it really is. Aaron Morrow, Mahomes did get happy feet one play, and he completed to Kelsie. Didn't you think? I don't remember thinking happy feet at the time. I'll have to look at the 22 to make sure. But Steve Ellers, we're only 4 games in the season with our new defense, but have you been unimpressed as I have with Clark? You know, a lot of fans are because he's not producing numbers, but he's drawing attention. The teams are giving him chips. They're giving him double lineman blocks. I mean, I pointed it out in the film room the other day. They're doubling Chris Jones. They're doubling Frank Clark. And that's, you know, it is what it is. Justin Houston wasn't productive when they doubled him all the time either. It's just part of the deal. You have to get the other guys to perform enough to make them pay for it so that they back off of doubling those guys. And Chris Jones is actually just better at splitting doubles. So that's the way that Chris Jones is getting it done. Nathan Roth, do you think the amount of hurdles go down this week? I haven't heard anything about Hawkinson, no, but I do agree that players are going to see that and they're going to realize, oh, hey, I'm putting myself at risk when I elevate like that, because the higher I go up, the harder I come down. So that is important. Me first, why didn't we keep running the crossing routes? Because they adjusted and they had their linebackers start cheating into those spots. And their linebackers are quick. Kennard in particular, who was rushing off the edge some, but a lot of their guys are quick. They're built for coverage as well. I was disappointed that again, that they didn't run the ball. Their linebackers are light. Yes, their defensive tackles are very good against the run, but that's why you run zone, you run counter, and you go back against the grain. That's what I would have liked to see. Severlin, no, I answered that one. Mad Chief, Hitchens isn't cutting it. Do you think he should be benched? No. I think he should be played as a will, not as a middle. I think Reggie should be starting in the middle. And in the nickel, it is what it is. I think Hitchens is one of the 2 best linebackers when you're only playing 2 linebackers. So they just don't have anybody better, and they're not going to acquire anybody better. Let's see. Gary Holland, what's up, buddy? Let's see. BS Guitars in 724. Why were you having so much trouble stopping the run? Just because guys aren't built for it. It's not their priority. They're better against the pass. And quite frankly, I don't think they have time to teach guys that. I don't think they have guys' ability to develop stacking and shedding. And they're a little bit slighter build, you know. That's the guys that they chose to put on this defense. So I can't say that you can't expect guys to do what they're not capable of, and when they're brought here to play pass. So Dylan Krukman, if Kelce doesn't extend D, what are the odds of him ending up in Philly or Chicago? Those would be my first two choices, my first two guesses of who would sign him, definitely. Scott Mason, do we trade Ragland and a pick for Peterson? That's in the back of my mind where I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking they don't want to put Reggie out there too much in case he gets hurt, because there are teams that are really linebacker light. And honestly, a play like he made yesterday, in coverage was enough to show Reggie can play coverage. He's a well-rounded linebacker. Yes, he's stronger in the run than he is in coverage, but he's still good, and he has value for other teams. I do feel like he is the chip that they're trying to put on the top of a trade for somebody, and that is the trade that I would go make, is to get Pat Peterson, not Jalen Ramsey. Aaron Todd, thanks for your donation, pal. Appreciate it very much. I will try to keep going. Have you ever noticed in the second half that Chiefs keep running the ball on 2nd and 10 and losing 2 yards most of the time? Yeah, it's been a little bit predictive lately. And part of that is just they're not getting as many yards on first down, so they're kind of going back to that. I actually want to see them run screens on first down and try to get that loosened up a little bit, because the lateral part of defending them is so dangerous. I feel that'll open up some of the stuff inside and run better. But also, they don't run with Sherman. I mean, go in there and run power. Put the fullback in and let him do what he does. I think you even heard Sherman say he would rather punch somebody in the mouth on a block than catch a pass. So let the guy do what he wants to do. That's what I say. Next question. Anthony Boyd, looked like Mahomes was off a little bit. The receivers are special teams fumbles. Penalties too much to get beat by the Patriots. Yes, if they played that badly yesterday, the Patriots would have whooped them by 10 points at least. And I agree with you. I don't think Pat was 100% on. I don't know what was bothering him, but he just wasn't in the groove with everybody else like he had been. Next question. Jerry, what do you think of the starting slow in the first quarter will hurt us down the line? Maybe. It also lets the team they're playing take their best shot first and adapt. I've been really impressed with what Spags has done in adapting, in making adjustments, something that Sutton proved he was not capable of doing any longer. So I think we're in better shape overall. Jay Jones, is just me, or is Travis Kelce running slower this year? It is definitely not you. I don't feel his ankle is 100%. I think he's 90, 95, but yeah, he doesn't have the same acceleration to my eye as last season. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because a lot of people are calling me crazy. Let's see. Nathan Roth, what's your opinion on the Kelce pitch to McCoy play? I think it was a great idea. I don't think I would have been happy if I was Reed. Scared the devil out of me, but when I see the all-22, supposedly, according to Matt, who was there live and could see the field, the whole field, there's nobody else around him, so it wasn't that much of a risk. But here's the thing. It was actually a lateral. That would have been a fumble had Shady not caught it. So that's a risk. It paid off, but let's not do that again, okay? Would you say that the officiating was sketchy in that game? I would say it was up and down. I thought they got a couple of tough calls right, and I think they got at least one wrong. So that's what I would say. You get a Kemlev. What's the issue with the Chiefs' conditioning? Is it because of the snaps played or something else? It's not the snaps played. They're playing less defensive snaps than they played last season. So I don't think that's it. I don't know exactly what it is. And I don't know if it's because they're spending so much time putting the defense in, educating, practicing that they don't have time for conditioning. I don't know. It's part of the CBA. I think that's going to change in the next CBA, but we'll have to see. Anthony Boyd. Oh, wait, that's not a question. ESPN commentator suggested Tyreek along with the first rounders for Jalen. Oh, no. Yeah, they're not trading Tyreek. They didn't put up with all this crap over the summer to trade Tyreek. He's not going anywhere. Why do you think they offered 2 first rounders for James? Oh, who do I think? I think it was the Eagles. Somebody told me Panthers, and I just don't buy that, but I could see the Eagles doing it pretty quickly. Vampa, maybe trade for Sean Lee instead of Jalen Ramsey. No, Sean Lee's a broken record and he breaks every season. I want nothing to do with Sean Lee. Gary, are you worried about Frank Clark? No, I am not. If he doesn't have 6 sacks by week 10, then maybe I'll start to worry. But he's the focal point of everybody's blocking scheme right now, and that's going to help other guys get paid. Chris Jones should be very happy that Frank Clark is here. Yes, Jerry, thank you for mentioning that to everybody. Put the question marks at the beginning. 7-Eleven, how big was it for the Chiefs? Man, you asked that a couple of times. Sorry, I don't know if I'm scrolling badly or if it's just in here multiple times. Again, I don't think it's a big impact. Wolverine, thanks again. Another donation. Appreciate it. Possible we trade for Trufant from the Falcons. I love Trufant. I think that would be a great fit. I don't think they're the point that they want to get rid of him, though. Yeah, they're struggling, and they're killing my fantasy team. I'm only running one fantasy team this year. It's my money league I've been doing for 16 years. It's a 12-team keeper league, in which I do have both Tyreek, Darrel, and Mahomes. So you can see how my season's going. But I don't think the Falcons are to the point where they want to, fire sale or get rid of their best players. And Trufant is definitely still one of their best players. Cole Kelleher, how are you, buddy? Peterson or Rhodes as far as a better fit? I think Peterson. I think Rhodes is better in zone than he is in man. Just my take. I don't think it's a big difference. But I would take Peterson in a heartbeat. He's still a good athlete. He's seen more than anybody else. He can make not only a difference in the way he plays, but he can help everybody else, including Fuller and Breeland, who have some experience, but they're not aged veterans at this point. So that's where I'm at. I agree with you. Morbian, what do you think of the ball punching? I think it was smart. I think it was old school football that worked. So, I wish the Chiefs had done it, but hey, it was good football. Ryan, what about the Chiefs trading for Miles Jack instead of Ramsey? No, not in a million years. Miles Jack showed you just exactly the kind of guy that he is. You want that kind of child on your football team? He gets beat a couple of times. He starts raging. No thanks. Okay. Me first. Peterson is suspended. DBs have to locate the ball better. Absolutely they do. And yes, he is. It's going to be 6 games. It's only 3 more, I'm just saying. Nathan Roth. Deion Yelder, is he ahead of Blake Bell now? I don't think so, but I liked it. I would want to see more of Yelder. I said that in training camp. I think Yelder actually gives you some options against, passing downs that he can actually get something done. I'm not so impressed with Blake Bell. Your thoughts on ball handling? In my opinion, it's sloppy. I'll tell you this. Shady makes me nervous. He's always made me nervous. Carrying the ball like a loaf of bread just drives me nuts. He did it in Philly. I don't remember him doing that much in Buffalo, but I do remember him doing it in Philly, and clearly they don't care, and it just drives me nuts. I cringe, but I don't think you're going to stop him, so it is what it is. Aaron Geckley, who gets cut to make room for Claiborne. I'm guessing it's Sanat, the recent O-line acquisition. They got like 11 offensive linemen. They don't need them. Somebody's just going to get put down the practice squad. I don't think he's going to garner any interest. So, can the Chiefs best the Pats with this defense? Yes. They still have a ways to go, but they can. And here's the thing. If they lose to the Pats in the regular season, I don't care. I don't care. As long as they can get home field advantage, I don't care. They got to beat them in the playoffs. That's all that matters. That's the stumbling block. So keep an eye on that as we get closer through the season and closer to the first Patriots game. And I am calling it the first Patriots game. Aaron, why was the Mahomes so inaccurate? Is his ankle still an issue? I don't think so. From the way he moved, I think his ankle's fine. I think he was rushed. I think he felt like he had things to take advantage of and he couldn't do it. And I feel like they weren't on the same page as much as they were in weeks past with the pass catchers. I think that was part of the problem. Let's see. Lee Mason, how much better would this defense be if we still had Peters? It'd be okay. Peters is a lot like Jalen Ramsey. He's malcontent. He would not be happy unless he was doing exactly what he wanted to do. I don't feel like he was a good fit for the organization while he is a good player on the field. I think he would have a couple of picks by now, and I think he would have given up several big plays by now. So, your call. Carliners, do you think the Chiefs are trying to sign Chris Jones to a long-term contract before the end of the season? I do not. I think they're going to let it play out, and they might even use the franchise tag next year. Brick Buddy. Breeland's heads up fumble return. Loved it. I talked about that earlier. I think that was a really heady play by a veteran guy that's paying attention. And I think Bashaud Breeland's been a really underridden acquisition for this team. I think he's really paying off. Scott Macy, do you think the passing game around the league, to try this up, Do you think this game being passed around the league to try and stop the Chiefs? They could try. I don't think so. I think the Chiefs struggled as much as the Lions made them struggle. So I don't see that happening every week. Next question, Stevie Keys. How do you feel about the coverage technique? I saw linebackers and all DBs face guarding and not bothering to turn around and locate the ball. It bothers me, but that's the new rule, and it does allow them to play faster. Fuller could have had a pick if he turned around better. Hitchens could have maybe made a play on a ball if he turned around faster. So I agree with you. I don't like the technique itself, but it is legal, and it does let them play with more speed, and I think that's what they're looking for. Gary Holland, is Mahomes going to be a $200 million yet? Yes, I do believe he is. I think $200 million is the floor for his contract, and I think that may only be 6 or 7 years. So could it be 230 in 7 years? Yeah, it definitely could. So I don't know. This is going to be crazy. But hey, we'll talk about that after the season. Nathan Roth, do you think Jacksonville will regret not accepting 2 first-round picks? Yes, I think they will. I think they're going to hold out long enough, and they're not going to get that in the end. They may end up just keeping a malcontent that doesn't want to play for them, and will poison the locker room in the process. But that's just me. Scott Mazie, do you think Mahomes missed Hill yesterday? Maybe a little bit, because Tyreek can get open when other guys can't. Not that there weren't opportunities for all the other guys. I think everybody did a good enough job getting open. It could have been. So I don't know. Mike Hall, can we fix the defense with our current players, or do we need to pick someone up? Is Hitchens understanding the defense? Yes, he's understanding the defense. I still feel like he's trying to overplay and play more than he needs to in the run game. I think he's playing pretty decent in coverage. And I think they need another impact player in the secondary in order to make this team really able to withstand the Patriots. Let's see. Is it just me, or is the kicker missing a lot over the past 3 weeks? Yeah, Justin, you're right. I don't know what's going on with him. If the pattern lasts too much longer, I'm gonna start to get worried. So, let's see. Luke Kramer, do you feel like we need a great LB more than we need a great CB? No. My favorite position is the linebackers. I feel like you can build a defense from the linebackers out in both directions. The league totally disagrees with me. They feel like coverage is first and pass rush is second, and the linebackers are just the guys in between to cover the. Years ago, Reggie Ragland would be worth a second-round pick. And it looks like I'm having some kind of trouble with the connection. Bear with me. I'm going to try to finish up because it looks like the internet is giving me trouble. Tyreek that I know of. Austin Howe, sorry. What's your biggest concern in the defense right now? Just the lack of aggression, getting home. I want to see the front actually hurt guys, get in their face, that kind of thing. Dr. Smith, do you think that do you wish we still had Breeland speaks after seeing Frank Hart getting pancaked? Oh, I think you asked that before. No, he'll be back next year. We'll see what he can do. Next question. Okay, 7-11. How big of an impact? Oh, wait, you asked that again, man. Okay, I keep reading your question. I've answered it multiple times now. Malik, should the Chiefs keep Sorensen in there now over Juan Thornhill? No, not at all. Thornhill's getting close. He's going to make a big play here pretty soon. And honestly, he needs as many reps as he can see. He's going to have to play later in the season and in the playoffs. So, Lee Mason, Tyreek makes his comeback this week. Any chance? I don't think so. Maybe like a 2% chance. But I think week 6 is much more likely. So we'll see what happens. Danilo, what do I have to do to get you on for a podcast interview? Just hit me up. Hit me on Twitter. Danilo, I'm happy to appear with whoever. Yeah, it shouldn't. It's honestly the hardest part of scheduling. So, Aaron. Okay, Justin Seymour. Why have the Chiefs been so bad at stopping the run in the last few years? Is it more the D-line or the LB? It's a combination. I think the scheme is helping them this year, but it's still about playing your assignment. And I still feel like guys are either over-pursuing or trying to do too much in terms of trying to jump gaps and help out the next linebacker over. I feel like the linebackers in particular are doing that, so that may be it. Dr. Sanitary, I talked about Perfect. I'm more than fine with it. If it's up to me, I'm I would find a reason for him never to play in the league again. That's just me. Nathan Ross, answered that one. Okay, getting almost caught up, guys. Do you think Claiborne? Okay, Longmorn 16. Oh, that's a nice scotch. Do you think that Claiborne coming soon and around game 8, Peterson playing here would gel in the playoffs in time? Yes, I think they would, and I think that's a good plan. I don't know if they can pull that off, but yeah, I think by the playoffs they would be ready. I would love to see that happen, actually. Does Kendall Fuller get signed back this offseason, Nathan Roth? I am not 100% to tell you the truth. We're going to have to see. Chiefs Kingdom in Colorado. I know there's a bunch of Colorado fans. I see you guys every now and then. We got to meet up sometime, someplace, centrally located. Why are they not playing Dodd lately? D-O-D, Dorian O'Daniel, Deldrick Smith, great question. They are just not impressed with him. I think, quite frankly, he's not big enough for a linebacker for them. And he's not small enough to play the safety. He's not quick enough to play the safety. I think he's a tweener, and I don't think Spags and his staff are really comfortable with using him, is what it comes down to. Nathan Roth, how expensive will Bashaud be next year, and do we sign him back? I think it's 50-50, him or Fuller, and I think they do want to sign somebody back that they have experience with. BK Confidential, thoughts on Xavier Howard? I think he's okay. I mean, he's not all world. Ramsey's better. Peterson's better. Xavier Rhodes is about even. I just don't think the Dolphins are ever going to let him go. So, thoughts on no, I already answered that. Nathan Roth, how long is the Javarius Ward contract? I think it's got 2 more seasons. I think he's a free agent in 2021. I'll have to check that. At what point do we trade for an MLB? They won't. 2 more years of Roth after this. Oh, 2 more years. Yeah, okay. So the 2020 season, the 2021 season, he'll be a free agent then. Yeah, New Jersey Chiefs fan, they're just not going to give up any capital for a middle linebacker. They don't feel it's a value position. They're okay giving up the run as long as their linebackers can cover. So I think that's just the way they want to play. How many years did Dustin Colquitt play, Nathan Roth? I don't know, man. He could play another 2 or 3 years. I think he's okay. We'll see. What do you think about Chris Jones playing on the end, Xavier Williams over the center? Williams is at home there, and I love moving Chris around. Chris can play any position on the defensive line, so I think it's great. And the more you do it, the better it is. So, I don't know. Chiefs in Colorado, we'll find some time. There's a bunch of fans down here I know that meet up at a place called, I think it's Docks. I can't remember. We'll have to do something. I'll probably be covering the Chiefs game when they come to Denver. So if nothing else, we'll try to get some folks out for that. Who's next? Red Royce. Hey, nice to see you. What do you think of PFF grades on Mahomes? Said he takes too many risks. Well, I don't buy into their grades as much as I do the raw numbers. I think they do a decent job tracking their interpretation of some things. I think is not always what I would interpret things as. But I think quarterbacks are pretty okay. When they say that you threw a ball into coverage that could have been picked, or like we've seen with Mahomes that was picked and it was a penalty or something like that, I mean, that's a legitimate gripe in my mind. So, yeah, but to say that when he's throwing these huge passes and he's 76% efficient in the second quarter, I mean, 72% overall, I have a hard time saying that he's not in the top 3 at the very least. Let's see. Hog Farmer, what's wrong with the special teams? Just reps, I think. And I think, honestly, they're feeling the lack of Marcus Kemp a little bit of leadership on that unit. It's been kind of evolving lately. So, Paces out. That's pretty good. Dan Thompson, I want to schedule a trip around one of your gigs. Where can I find the concert schedule? We do a lot of private stuff, but up on our Facebook page are where all the announcements are. It's Canyon Creek Band on Facebook. And if you guys are going to be out here anytime soon, we're playing a big gig with Sundance at the Buffalo Rose in Golden on October 19th. So, and more importantly, you guys that are in the Kansas City area, I've been trying to find places to bring the band to and play local. My guys are willing to travel. So if you guys have places that have a good solid stage, lighting the whole 9 yards, I mean, we're not a garage band. We play big fairs and tours and that kind of thing. So let me know. Hit me up in the comments later when this video goes up, and let me know if you have any ideas. Nathan Roth, what about the face mask? Are you worried about the face mask penalties or not really? Yeah, I think that was a lot of coincidence. I don't think that was anything by design or anything that you have to worry about repeating itself. So, Aaron Morrow, wow, thanks. Appreciate the donation. You do a lot. If anybody buys more t-shirts, it's Aaron Morrow, folks. And if you guys have t-shirts you want, just let me know. I love making those things. They're fun. And I love the Kingdom ones. I wear a Kingdom, Welcome to the Kingdom one. I've been here since Marty. I wear that around Denver, and people kind of look at me strange. It's great. There's going to be a lot of bandwagon fans, so I'm trying to do things to kind of offset some of that. But your question, Aaron, and this will be the second to last. Do we beat the Patriots twice this year? When do we pick up the first loss? Thanks for another great show. Thank you. I appreciate it, Aaron. I think they split with the Patriots this year. I think they're going to lose to the Patriots in the regular season. I'm not sure they're going to be able to pull that off. I think they beat them in the playoffs and they go to this Super Bowl. That's what I think. Feels good to say that. Clinton Petrie, what will the Chiefs pull the trigger on a trade for a CB? I don't know. The right price is basically what it's going to be. They have to control. They have to push Steve Keim. The threat of losing his job in Arizona is probably what's going to drive Steve Keim. And getting closer to the trade deadline and not moving Ramsey is what's going to move the Patriots to move them along. So Scott Mays, try coming to KC and play at Power and Light. I just don't know where, man. If you guys have like a venue, a place, let me know. That's what I need to know so I can reach out and contact people. Say the band name again. It's Canyon Creek Band. I'll wear the shirt next time. Okay, last question. Dwight Raleigh. Who do you see the Chiefs blowing out this season? The Broncos. And possibly the Raiders again. I don't think they're going to blow out the Chargers. I think they're going to have a hard time and probably lose to the Packers and the Patriots. Beyond that, we'll see. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Nathan Roth, any chance we don't play the Patriots in the playoffs? I don't see one right now, man. I mean, the way they're playing. And I don't think the other contenders in the AFC, it's the Chiefs and the Patriots. I don't see anybody else that's going to beat those guys. So everybody can be in love with the Ravens and the Browns. It just ain't going to happen. If the Chargers can get healthy, they might give them a run, but that's all I see right now. So, well, we're well over an hour, 300 plus people in here tonight. Thanks for spreading the word, you guys. Appreciate everything you've done. I'll have game film for you probably Wednesday, maybe Wednesday afternoon, depends on when it comes out. And game plan this next Friday. So hit me up with questions or whatever. Danilo, hit me with something on Twitter. We'll try to figure that out. Thank you for all your time. I appreciate all your help and all your donations tonight. Hit the t-shirt, see if you like one, and I'll talk to you next time.